Hello, everybody. My name is Gabe Howard, and I just want to give a huge shout out to Rowe Middle School in Milwaukee, Oregon. Thank you so much for having me. I live with bipolar and anxiety disorders, and I am a mental health advocate. And trying to tell my journey in a video that's 2 to 4 minutes is just so incredibly difficult. But the most important part, I think, is that I didn't know that I was sick, and my family didn't know that I was sick. Nobody around me knew that I was sick, and that really allowed this illness process of bipolar disorder to just run incredibly unchecked. I thought about suicide every day as far back as I can remember. I had severe depression where I thought I was worthless. I had mania where I thought that, these grandiose thoughts where I thought that I was invincible and godlike, and then everything in between. And it was just this whiplash effect of emotions that made my life so incredibly difficult until I was admitted to a psychiatric hospital where I finally got a diagnosis, where I finally got care. And then the most important thing that I want people to understand from that is even after I got a diagnosis, even after I started to understand what was happening, it still took 4 years to reach recovery. Now, I define recovery as spending more of my time living my life than I do managing my disorder. When I was first diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I spent 100%. The illness just owned me. And now I spend maybe, I don't know, 5-10% of my life. I still have to spend some time managing bipolar disorder. I want to get to the questions real quick. Barriers that I face. Misunderstanding, discrimination, and stigma is a huge barrier. While access to care is not a huge barrier for me personally, it is a huge barrier for many people with my diagnosis. I'm very fortunate. I have a good family and I have health insurance and I have resources, but there are many people that aren't as lucky as me. And even though they are ready, willing, and able and desperately trying to get help for their illness, they just can't find or afford care. That is a huge, huge barrier. Of course, I mentioned the stigma and discrimination. So many people are like, oh, you have bipolar disorder? Well, you can't work. You must be on disability. You can't own a home. You can't be married. There's lots of things that come up like that, which is sort of depressing because in many ways, I'm literally just like everybody else. I'm just trying to live my life and be happy and make my wife happy and take care of my dog and figure out how the end of my favorite show is gonna end. When it comes to celebrations, the fact that I am well is absolutely worth celebrating. And it took a long time to get here. And the fact that I hang on and I stay in recovery, that is absolutely worth celebrating. It was a difficult journey, but I made it. And the advice that I would give students, when you don't understand something, take a moment to learn about it, because so many people, I'm like, I have bipolar disorder, and they just rush to the stereotype and that's what they believe is happening. And TV, movies, books, they don't do a good job of explaining anything. And they really don't do a good job of explaining mental illness. If you yourself think that you might have a mental illness or a mental health challenge, seek help. Talk to your parents, talk to a teacher, talk to a guidance counselor, talk to a doctor, go to urgent care. Don't ignore it. The number one thing that hurt me for so many years is that I honestly believed nothing was wrong, which allowed bipolar disorder to just work unchecked in my life. And it could have done a lot of damage to me and my family. And I say a lot of damage. It did a lot of damage. It could have done more damage because I'm still here talking to you. I want everybody to still be here talking to each other and to me. Thank you so much for having me. I don't know how long that was, but I hope I did a good job. Check me out on gabehoward.com. I have a book, I have podcasts, I have so much cool stuff, and you can continue the learning, and you can also send me an email. Thank you all so much. Bye.